Welcome to the New World Order Showcase Podcast. Your host, Jill Hart, the coach's Alchemist. Couldn't be more excited to have you join us today. On this podcast, we celebrate the champions of change, the up-and-coming life, health and transformational coaches who are fearlessly stepping forward to make a difference in the world. Get ready for inspiring stories, practical tips, and powerful moments that will motivate you to make a positive change in your life and those around you. We're happy to have you join us on this incredible journey as we dive into the world of life, health, and transformational coaches who are lighting up the path towards a better tomorrow.
Hi, and welcome to the New World Order Showcase Podcast. Today we have with us Sean McCall. He is a business credit coach, and he helps small businesses optimize cash flow and growth management. Welcome to the show, Sean. Really happy you're here.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
You're kind of a different coach for us to have on, and you deal with people helping small businesses manage their cash flow, which is like we were talking before we got started about how important that is. You want to talk about that a little more?
Yeah, what you see happen with small businesses, it really even mid to large size business, every company at some point needs capital, and it could be to weather a storm. You know, COVID obviously comes to mind that companies needed cash flow. Have a friend that had to shut down his printing business for all of while the country was shut down, but he still had to maintain buying, $100,000 worth of paper every month that he wasn't using to maintain his account. So the mission at J. Galt and what I do is to, counsel and coach small business owners that when they need the capital, have the ability to get it that's not tied to them personally. So what I mean by that is we want the business to borrow the money and not the person. So there's something called a corporate veil that resides between your personal finances and your business finances. So when you set up a company, an LLC or whatever it is, that protection is there to protect your personal assets. But when you start commingling funds, that protection goes away. So we're trying to get them to not run. If you're a plumber and you want to hire three new technicians for your company, we don't want you to go down to the Chevrolet dealership or Ford or wherever it may be and sign for those vehicles, because now you've got at home most likely your vehicle, your spouse's vehicle if you have one, and now you've got three more all on your Social Security number, and that's not the way it has to be. So that's our mission is to first of all make people aware of that it is a possibility, and show them how to do it. Essentially, we're taking the techniques and tactics that Wall Street uses and has used forever and showing them to Main Street. And that's what we do. You don't see anyone at Walmart or Home Depot's board of directors running down to the car dealership and using their Social Security number, right? Walmart wants to buy a bunch of paper towels. They go to Procter & Gamble. They have them shipped there. They sell them. Then they pay Procter & Gamble. And it shouldn't be any different for any local business that you see anywhere in the country.
Yeah, the rules were set up to help us, not to make life more difficult. But
yeah.
a lot of coaches I know, they get into the business because they want to help people, and they're not really entrepreneurs, and they don't really understand all the ins and outs of the decisions that they're making and the tax ramifications, quite frankly, and the legal ramifications of the things that they're doing.
No doubt. I mean, this position for me was born out of experience. So I come from a completely different background. I'm from the media sports industry. My wife is in the technology sector, and we had a friend that owned a chain of restaurants or local restaurants. What really chain? Just he had 5 of them, and they wanted to sell 2. So he mentioned to me one day back in 2016 that we should buy one of them. That it was a profitable business. It'd be easy peasy. Had a general manager on staff and been there for 8 years. Everything was hunky dory. So we bought it. We borrowed $500,000 from the SBA, which was great. But the downside of that was it tied up all the equity in our home. It tied up our retirement savings. It tied up really any access to cash that we could get at all. And it was all tied to the restaurant. So that's fine. You find it's debt, you're going to service it, not a big deal. But then what happens is, you need a new grease trap in the back, and that's $40,000. You need we needed to get new kitchen equipment. That's another $30,000. We had to rebrand. That was $75,000. So more and more debt was piling onto us. And then COVID came, and we were like, uh-oh. So we survived COVID, and we got back into business. But where our location was, very concerned citizens that weren't ready to come back out into public. And we had one of our affiliate restaurants. It wasn't mine, but it was up in a more country part of town. I'll say they flocked back. They could care less. But where we were, it was super slow, and we were bleeding money. So we eventually decided to close. We didn't sell it, but we were fortunate enough to have gotten PPP money from the government, and an EIDL loan, and a couple of grants, which, not completely, but by and large got us mostly out of debt. So then I was looking around for what to do and started thinking about it. And I thought to myself, well, I'm a fairly smart person, and I know my wife is 10 times smarter than me, but we didn't know any other way than all that debt we had to borrow it personally. So then this opportunity came along to start coaching people to what I'm doing. And I thought to myself, we were fortunate that we were able to weather that storm. And, even if we hadn't have received the government assistance, I know we would have survived. But there's so many people that work their entire lives. I always like to talk about, electricians or plumbers, that they're great technicians. They work for a big company. There's a company here called Superior Plumbing, great company. You work there for 20 years and you've got your craft down, you bust out on your own. And then, sometimes through your own fault, but many times not through your own fault, you don't make it. And it happens. You know the statistics, how many small businesses don't fail. So if your business fails, you shouldn't lose your home. You shouldn't lose your kid's college fund. You certainly shouldn't lose your retirement. You've worked your entire life to get it. So that's our goal. And it sounds a little corny, but it's really, we like to say we're rescuing small businesses one at a time. And frankly, it's something I'm super passionate about because I've lived it. And I've never had a position professionally that I wasn't absolutely passionate about. So that's why we do what we do. And it's really mostly education,
Yeah. And it's so desperately needed, because your story is just like so many other stories out there. People don't understand that, doing business under your social security number is not usually in your best interest. And it's not that hard to get an LLC.
No, you get your LLC, and there's an old proverb that says something about planting a tree. The best time to do it was 20 years ago, but if you didn't do it then, the best time is now. So we love to start speaking to business owners when they're getting ready to launch, but it's never too late. And it's just never too late. And the beautiful thing about what we do is we're setting up the companies. And I don't want to make this sound like it's salesy, but what we want them to do is be able to lay their pillow on the bed at night and know that if an opportunity comes along to grow their business, they have the capital to go do it. And conversely, if something terrible happens to them, whatever, what could be a remodel, it could be COVID, that they're going to survive that too. And that's the peace of mind that every small business owner, I think, if you've ever owned a small business, you've had those nights. Almost every business owner I know has had that. They're lying there at night. They're going, oh, wait, I'll just use a restaurant because I'm familiar with it. Let's see. I've got payroll is going to come out on Thursday. My rent, oh, wait, that's $15,000. That's going to come out on Wednesday, I've got to pay all my regular deliveries. I've got to pay that and all the other bills. And next thing you're going, well, shoot, I hope I have a really good week, because if I don't, come Monday morning, I'm going to have to get online to my personal, Bank of America account or wherever you bank and transfer that money into my business. And no one wants to do that. You're robbing Peter to pay Paul and going back and forth. The better thing to do is have it set up in advance. And so, you've got a business line of credit. It's not tied to your house. It's not tied to your social. It's tied to the EIN of your company. And when you need it, it's there for you. And that's the peace of mind that I want small business owners to have, because I did it. I mean, we were on vacation several years ago down in Florida, and my brother-in-law and sister-in-law and all the kids are out playing. I'm looking at the app on my phone going, wait, it's Saturday. How'd Friday night go? Because payroll's coming out on Monday. I'm stressing about it. And it's supposed to be vacation. And and it doesn't have to be that way. So if anything, I just want people to understand that there's a way to not tie yourself to that and a way to get out of it. And it's not expensive. It's not hard. You just have to know what you're doing. And that's what we do. We provide that knowledge.
So do you actually provide the financing too? Is that part of what?
No, we have an affiliate company that if someone's in a pinch, if they came to me today and they said, Sean, I need $30,000. We have a company that I don't work for them, but it's part of our umbrella that can do those types of loans.
Mm-hmm.
And we, that's only, well, whoever needs it, that they can do what they want to do, but that's not what we're there to get them prepared to get a better financing opportunity down the line. So we're not a bank, to answer your question.
Okay. I was just kind of curious about that, but as far as coaching people on, what exactly do you coach them on?
Okay, let me explain it. Because that's the neat part. Let's say you came to me and you owned doesn't matter what you do, say you owned a florist shop.
Mm-hmm.
We put you into a SaaS product, which is software that, as a service. So it's not like we don't sell you QuickBooks and say go to town. So you're put into a portal, the product that we have, and you're taken through a 7-step process to build your business credit. And business credit goes from 0 to 100, whereas your personal credit score 350 to 900. And when you come on board, you're assigned a business credit analyst that sits down with you, looks at everything there is to know about your business, does a very deep dive on it, finds out where you are, where you want to go, and creates a plan for you to go through those 7 steps. And the first step is they do that, they analyze it, and then we want to make sure that the vendors and lenders that you're currently doing business with are actually reporting to the 3 business credit bureaus. And this is where business owners that try to do this on their own get sideways. Only 7% of the lenders and vendors in the country. So think about that, 93%, only 7% report to the 3 business bureaus. The other 93% don't. So you can have a great relationship with someone you've been doing business with for 20 years, but if they're not reporting to Dun & Bradstreet for you or Equifax business, you're not getting any credit for it. So we're going to make sure you're registered with Dun & Bradstreet, you're registered with all the proper credit bureaus. And then we're going to start. Now, we're not going to look at your books unless you want us to. We're going to, based on your situation, we're going to start applying on the very beginning. It's lower in accounts. Think of something. I like to use the example of if you were buying your office supplies from online, from Office Depot. We're going to tell you to get an Office Depot business account that you can get tied just strictly to your EIN. You start utilizing that, and then you utilize more of that, and then you grow and grow and grow. And as you get through the process, by the time you get to step 7, your business credit should be at an 80, and at 80 and above, the world is your oyster. You can go into a dealership and sign and drive just on your company's EIN, no personal guarantees, no stress at night. And the secret sauce as you walk through that process, all of our lenders and vendors provide 100% transparency to our clients. So when you look at, let's say we tell you to go get you know, a Lowe's card or whoever it might be, you're
Mhm.
going to see on there, here are their underwriting guidelines. How long you have to have been in business, the amount of revenue you have to have, and everything. So we're not gonna instruct you to apply for anything that you don't know 100% for sure that you're going to get approved for. And it's about utilization. So the more you utilize the credit, the faster it grows. We're not asking anyone to go into debt. That's certainly not what we want you to do. We're starting by spending the amount of money that you're already spending. And certainly in the beginning, you might have to have a personal guarantee, but the goal is as you get, down the line, you're going to pay those off. And that process takes about 9 months to do. And along the way, just as as a side note, you're not alone. You have that credit analyst, but you also have access to a fractional CFO that will work with you to look at your books if you want them to and help you make business decisions. You have access to a CPA for the same thing. You have access to an attorney, and all of those people are at no additional charge at all. It's a lifetime membership, I'll call it, with us. So your business needs change from wherever you are in your the status of your business now. You could be at the ending of the life cycle. You could be starting. And the other thing, business credit transfers in certain situations with new owners. So if it's a key man at your company, it will transfer. If it's say you're a relative, it'll transfer. Now, if I were to buy your practice, it, kind of out of luck, but that's, that's how it works. And it's not, the neat thing about it is it's not hard. It just, you have to know the order in which to do it in, and you have to know what vendors to use. And we won't do business or well, you do whatever you want, but we won't put our any vendor in front of people that are working with us unless they provide that 100% transparency. That's a deal breaker. So that's how that process works. I've seen we have a client we always talk about. She had a trucking company, and she had, you can imagine, a couple of big rigs, long haul drivers. She had a recommended credit line of $1,500 when she came to us. And, like you see on the commercials, this isn't ordinary, but at the end of 9 months, she had $750,000 worth of available credit solely on her company. She's able to buy new vehicles, give fleet cards to all her drivers, which she had been putting on her own personal American Express, put a new roof on her building, and she's flourishing. It's not, it's not that hard. It's the thing about it, it's intentional, right? So think about when you were turned 18 and you started getting all the credit cards in the mail that you certainly didn't need, nor could you pay.
I actually didn't experience that because I'm old. And they didn't have credit cards. Credit cards are a fairly new thing. Most people don't realize that. But if you were born before, I'd say probably 1980, credit cards are the common usage of credit cards wasn't what it is today.
Oh, right. No, I
They
get
had like
that.
American Express and
Yeah. I graduated college in 1990. And when I did, I did receive a couple of credit card offers in the mail, which $1,000 here, $1,000 there. Great. I can go out on a date. I'm going to have any way to service that debt. The point is that personal credit happens whether you like it or not. You're getting judged no matter what you do on your business side. It's got to be intentional or you won't have it. I have a client that was in business here for 20 years, successful that printer I was telling you about. And
Mhm.
he had like a 30 business credit score. And he was like, where do I sign? And he's been a great customer now for a couple of years.
Yeah, there are a lot of people, me included, that never really even realized that there was a difference between business credit and personal credit.
Yeah. You know what? They don't talk about it. And, and I'm not saying anything negative about community banks, which I love, or national banks, but the banker's job at Bank of America, even the business banker's job is to sell you a business credit card or a business checking account or give you one of their lines of credit. They're not there to coach and to counsel. They're there to sell. That's their job. But the key difference when you think about because it happens to me almost daily, someone will say, Sean, I have a corporate card. Do you? That's awesome. Can I see it? And if it's got the company name on it and it's got their name on it, it's a hybrid card. It's not truly a corporate card. A corporate card would say ABC Plumbing, period. And that's not what Bank of America is out there trying to sell. So that's, the thing
Well,
is,
they don't want to have, when you deal with the bank is looking for an asset exchange, and they
sure,
want something that's secured somehow or another. And if your business is, and that's the whole thing about building credit, is it establishes that you are responsible your with your transactions, and that you're doing well enough that you can service your debt.
right,
I mean, debt can be a trap where you can, if you're spending money and you're not using it to increase your return on investment, it's a recipe for disaster. That's what
sure,
happens with all the kids when they get out of school and they get all these credit card applications and they go on dates instead of paying for the gas for their car that they're going to have to use to go to work. And it's
right,
something they're going to spend that money on anyway, but they pay it all the way off at the end of the month because it's something they were doing anyway. They can
sure.
build their credit. It's
Yeah, and the thing with, I mean, being responsible with it doesn't matter which business or personal credit is super important. And
Yeah.
I'm actually working on a book about, that's one of the chapters is managing, being a good steward of that credit, because having it's great. And we tell people all the time, we don't have a business credit pixie dust wand. The scores are calculated much differently on the business side than they are on personal. There's not a lot less, debt to ratio types of things that they look at. It's on the business side, it's really utilization and on time payments. So if you're paying your bill, they like you to pay it early. The earlier you pay it, the better, and the higher it gets. You get to the higher tiers of the business credit. But if you don't pay your bill on time, we can't help you. You can't get 5 cards and then you're not there if you're not paying the bills. Well, it's like
Do they tie them a lot to accounts receivable? Still doing that?
no, you can borrow against your accounts receivables with some of the lenders, but they don't really look at that as much when they're building your credit score. But that's a very good point. One thing that we talk about a lot, and I'm so happy you brought that up, is if you have 90 days worth of accounts receivables out there, and say you're a roofer, local roofer, and you get 5 new roofs that you need to put on, but you're not going to get paid for all these accounts for 90 days, but you need the material to put the new roof on. Have the line of credit that's tied to your business that you can go get that money and grow your business. And the ultimate thing about it too, I mean, it's like, hey, you're going to get better rates and better terms too. Usually 10x the amount. If you and I were to walk into the bank, we're going to get X amount. If you're coming in as with a 80 plus business credit score, you're going to get 10 times that at a better interest rate. So, I go around to all the networking groups, BNI and all those types of things. And you have your 60 seconds that you get to stand up and give your elevator spiel. And mine's simple. It's if you can name one good thing about using your social security number to finance your business, I want to know what it is. One good thing. I mean, I don't know what it would be.
Yeah, I don't either. Like,
And the thing and having been a small business owner is you got to control what you can control, because there's so many things you can't control. And it don't get upside down personally with your personal finances. And I mean, I've seen companies, they get like that. They go out of business, and you see people get divorced, you see people lose their homes, you see, in very unfortunate cases, people commit suicide because they've lost all their money and their kids now can't go to college and their wife's left them. And none of it has to be that way. I'm not trying to get melodramatic about, finances and business, but it is what it is. And we don't want to see anyone go out of business, but if you got to file bankruptcy, you might as well be on your company and not on your personal life. I mean, I know, controversial subject and everything, but love him or hate him, Donald Trump's filed bankruptcy about 900 times, and he's still living.
Yeah, I
He's
know.
still living at Mar-a-Lago because
And running for president.
yeah. So that's kind of what we do in a nutshell. It's really selling. It's really selling the insurance of peace of mind. Because if you're not out there worried about that piece of it, you have much more time to focus on your craft and building your business. You ever read a book called The E-Myth?
No.
Well, you take a peek at it sometime. It's a quick read, but it talks just about how the small business technician, the operator, leaves that plumbing company and starts his own or her own. But they're so adamant about doing the job. Everything's got to be perfect, but they can't do everything. They can't be. They don't want to give up that position to become the business owner. So you can't do it all. So take what you can out of your worrywart hat and just get it set up. It's not hard to do. And so is for your listeners, I provide a free counseling session to anybody that wants it over Zoom or the phone, however they want to do it. And in that, I'll tell them, I'll ask them about their business and do as much discovery as I can and give them all the free advice I can. If they want to engage us in business relationship, that's fine. But if not, I'll, provide them with a free business credit report that they'll know where they stand. And that's just, it's not a sales pitch. It's just an education to tell them something they might not have known. And, if they find something interesting, then maybe we talk shop and how we can work together. Because, I see it all the time. I had a guy, I talk a lot, so pardon me, but I had a dude tell me one time, a younger guy, and this was, several months ago. Oh man, I've been in business 8 years. I did $2 million last year in revenue. I've got X amount of employees. I'm as solid as a rock when it comes to credit. I said, okay, I hear you. Let's just see. So I pulled his credit report and he was sitting down at a 25. So he had good credit. It was his personal credit that was good. It just wasn't tied to his business.
Yeah.
So, in his case, he learned something. He didn't engage with me, but I didn't matter to me. He learned something. A lot of times they'll say, well, I'm going to go out and do it on my own, and they give it a shot, and they usually decide they want the help.
Sometimes it's just cheaper in the long run to pay for the help up front.
Yeah.
So it's a lesson that's taken me many years to learn, but
Well, yeah,
you can't be
is.
the best at everything.
No, and what you can do is when you do engage with someone in this sort of coaching consulting space, and when it comes to finances, if it's not me, I mean, if it's just find someone that truly cares, about you and about your business. There's so many sharks out there, predatory lenders, and I don't want to see anyone fall prey to that. And we had our restaurant. It was every other day I would get a call from someone, the merchant credit lenders who wanted, I'll put $40,000 in your account tomorrow, and we'll just take the fee out of your transactions every night off the top. Sounds great, right? I mean, I don't have to go through the loan process, no underwriting, and get the money, a couple of days. Well, yeah, at 30% by the time you're done paying, and they take advantage of people like a lot of companies do. They take advantage of people that are in desperate need.
30% is a lot.
Yeah.
People are universally bad at math these days. Which is why when you go to restaurants, they tell you what 15 or 20 and 30% is for tipping, because people don't know how to tip. They don't know how to do percentages.
It's
It's
amazing.
it boggles my mind, but it doesn't surprise me when I see those kinds of things happening, which is, better for servers, I think.
Well, you've got to read, I mean, I noticed the other day at a restaurant, it was had a big line for the tip. And then I read a little closer and there was already a service fee in there,
Mhm.
and I'm a pretty generous tipper. It's just kind of in my nature, but I don't, if they're already taking 15%, I'm not going to give them another 25 on top of it. Uh,
Right.
so, it's just throughout history, look at uh, lease to own furniture companies that'll, you can go get a couch for $100 a month, and that $1,000 couch costs you $8,000 by the time you're done with it, or the
Mhm.
dirt car lots that, there's a shiny new import that someone can't afford, they go get, and they pay 10 times what that car that's already 10 years old is worth. Just do business with someone that like and trust, and that really cares about what they're trying to do.
Pay attention to what you're doing, ask questions. It's okay. I, and information is valuable. Even bad information is valuable. If you get enough of information in general, you're able to discern which. You don't have to buy from the first person you talk to.
No, and I'm a big disbeliever in Google reviews because I just don't trust them. But ask them for some clients that they can speak to.
Mhm.
Hey, who have you dealt with before? I'm have you worked with any plumbers or any HVAC people? Sure. Mind if I give them a call? Well, if they have a problem with it, they probably just don't want you to talk to them. You know,
Yeah.
I, I had it the other day. I had an attorney. Well, he was a difficult one, but we finally got it done. But he wanted to talk to 4 clients, and I called those 4 people up and said, "Hey, this guy named Ken's going to be calling you if that's okay. He wants to talk about your experience with us. I don't want to know what you're going to say or what you're not going to say. Just if you're good with it, kind of give your number out." And I did, and he called them all, and then he ended up engaging our services. And this gentleman happens to be I talk about the trades all the time, but this guy is a personal injury attorney, and he does really well, but he doesn't know when he's going to have a case. And, so they're up and down with his cash flow. And he was doing just that. He was borrowing from his home line of credit to pay his associates and to pay his paralegals and to pay his rent and all the other things. So now he's building this business credit profile so he can just do it on his firm. And there's other kickoff side benefits like lower interest rates. You have a high business credit score, you're going to get better. You're going to get insurance rates. You're going to get, and anyone can pull a business credit report. It costs money. I put it out there. I can do that for people for, no cost, but, you might have a vendor you want to work with, and they may pull your credit. And if they do, and you have a great business credit score, you're going to get better terms with them. You might get 60 days versus 30. So the benefits of it far outweigh the nominal cost it costs to do it. And with our product and our program, it takes the end user all of about 3 hours a month to work it. It's not like they're sitting in front of a computer coming out of the field or out of whatever they do. It's
Or
really plug
becoming a
and play.
bookkeeper.
Yeah, it's plug and play,
Yeah.
and with the, I think it's overused, but with white glove service, because I I'd always talk about this. I got like QuickBooks when we had that restaurant, and I don't know the first thing about how to run QuickBooks. I might as well be trying to teach Latin when I was looking at the thing. I would have gladly had someone, if could have gotten the QuickBooks program and had someone on the other end like we do and helped me walk through it the whole time. It would have been great. Instead, I just hired a CPA to handle all the books.
Yeah, I'm a bookkeeper. I was a bookkeeper for a large part of my life, and I've done QuickBooks. I was around in the accounting world when doing stuff online first came out, and it confuses the heck out of me. It's just like, it's not intuitive. I know it's very popular, but it's not intuitive.
No, and the other, from your background, you get your P&L for January sometime in middle or late February. Well, that's like driving your car backwards, through the rearview mirror. You don't know. It's much better to know where you're going, what the road looks like. And I failed to mention this as part of something else I also provide is it's a no cost cash mapping software that is easy to use. Unlike some of the accounting software, and it literally is that you create as many maps as you want, personal and business, so when your money comes in exactly where it's going.
Hmm.
So,
Is it a bookkeeping software? Is it
it's not a bookkeeping
like,
software. It's you know what? I'll send it to you and let you see what it looks like.
I
It's
would
it's
love
a
that.
it's a program, but it's not where you don't have to sit in and input, rent and input it's pretty it's also plug and play. And we use that data at the end of every year with
Mhm.
us. We provide you with a business valuation of your company, which sometimes all the things we add the add-ons, I forget about them. It's a full broker level business valuation. It's a 30-page document that tells you where your business is in relation to your geographic area, what those businesses are valued these days, and what you could turn it for, which is great for someone that's looking to maybe borrow against their business or to sell it. You know,
Right.
so it's
So
it's a
does it
pretty
pull off your bank account and your credit cards
yeah
and stuff?
yeah you set everything up. I'd love to send you a copy of it, but
Yeah.
I just want anyone that wants to get a free consultation. I think it's pretty valuable, the data plus the credit report. It's just not something in if you just Google business credit, you're going to see a lot of disinformation out there, a lot of things that aren't true. Um, and again, it's not rocket science. There's facts, and there's people that just don't know.
There's everything else.
Yeah, yeah. But I tell you what, I really get a lot of enjoyment out of doing this. It makes me happy, to know that it's just a little more security for the people that are out there risking it. Because we were talking about before this started, 99% of business in this country is made up of small business operators,
Yeah.
and over 60% of the employee workforce is that. And that's sometimes it drives me crazy when people start talking about we got to tax the rich, tax corporate America. Well, great. Well, corporate America is Walmart, and it is Costco, and it is the big folks, but it's also Keegan's Public House on Barrett Parkway here where I live in Kennesaw, Georgia. It's my friend's pest control company, and my buddy's other little restaurant, and my friend's
Plumber down the street.
foundation, all of them. Yeah. So when they raise those corporate taxes, they're not immune to it at all. Our government,
They're
does.
they're worse off
Oh, sure.
than
Yeah.
than those big companies, because they don't have the manpower to deal with the tax laws
No,
that are there. They're there to help you, but they're just like, they're paying way too much in taxes because they don't have the staff or the funding to spend the time and energy that those big corporations have. So
no, they don't.
it really hurts them way more than
Oh, it does. And if
the
you
big
think
companies.
if you think for 1 second that Walmart pays corporate taxes, it doesn't matter what they change the rate to. They raise their prices an extra dollar, or whatever it is. But my friend I mentioned a minute ago that owns the little restaurant up the street, he can only charge so much money for 6 chicken wings.
Yeah.
before consumers just aren't going to pay it.
Mhm.
And he's out of luck.
And then
So
he's out of business.
for sure. Yeah. And being, small business operators have so many issues that they deal with every day. And everyone, a lot of people that aren't business owners, they whatever path you choose in life is great. That's, I don't judge anyone, right? But they always think that, oh, that guy owns his plumbing company, or he owns that electrical company. I see their signs all over town. He's rich, backing up the Brinks truck. Yeah, no, most likely not. We talked about what huge percentage of companies go out of business, and that's where we come into play. 82% of those are due to cash flow. Let's
Yep.
not let cash flow be your cause them. But I don't like to talk about the negative. I like to talk about the positive. I like to look at it as, if you have access to capital, it's not going to kill you, and you can grow your business and scale your business and make everybody happy and wealthy and hire people and keep the money in the community. I love shopping local, supporting the local businesses, and the more that local business is better they're doing, the more people they can hire, the better the local economy is, and the happier the town is.
Yeah.
So that's what it's about. If you're sitting there, you see it in a lot of the trades companies. They grow a lot of times by buying their competitors. So when they hear that, Bill's getting ready to sell his electrical company they've been competing with for 20 years, wouldn't it be great to know that they knew they had the money to do it. They didn't have to go sit around and wait and get the underwriting and go through all those things, that they had access. They knew they were already approved and they were ready to roll. That is such a peace of mind that you can't put a price tag on it.
It's empowering. Is and it really does help everybody else.
Yeah,
When small businesses succeed, the community thrives. And it grows because people see, the small businesses doing well. And so they open small businesses, and just having access to information about how to do that in a smart way, really it can turn the tide on how communities, cities, towns,
sure. Yeah, that's the
the
thing.
world.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's just, the thing is just, if you do it the proper way, you remove one less hurdle for
Mhm.
yourself. Because sometimes it's too late. If you get in a I have a friend of mine, unfortunately, that ended up losing his business because he was doing those bad loans. He had three location um, um, restaurant, and one of them was doing terribly, and the other two were doing well. And he was taking money from the two that are doing well and propping up the second one. But sooner or later, that wasn't working, so he started getting those high interest loans. Next thing you know, the guy's, $400,000 in debt at some ridiculous interest rate, to the point where he just, you can't, again, you can only sell so many hamburgers to make it, or widgets, or whatever it is you happen to sell.
Yeah.
So,
And it's easy with high interest rates to get upside down fast.
oh, for
You
sure. Yeah. Yeah. When I'm not doing,
$30 for every $100 you borrow, having to pay $30 back. That's a lot.
yeah. And you make the minimum payments, and the principal never goes down, and it never goes down. And I don't know how much time we have, but I love to tell the story. I've got a friend that had Federal Express sells route. You can buy a route business for
Mhm.
Federal Express, right? So he started small, grew. He was out in Oklahoma, ended up with 30 locations, 30 routes. So he had
Mhm.
30 trucks.
Right.
Um, and when he started, he had an 850 credit score, personal credit score. He sold his company, so we're not crying for him, by the way. He sold it for a good deal of capital, but his personal credit was down to 350 when he sold it. He had no idea. And the reason is because the banks, and his company was doing great. I mean, the company was profitable. but he had all this personal debt, and it doesn't matter how much money you're making. The banks are only going to give you so much credit. So in his situation, he wouldn't have even been able to refinance his own home. So you
Yeah.
imagine you got a guy owns a great successful business, is about to be a millionaire because he's going to sell it, making gobs of money, but he can't refinance his own home because it didn't fit, the peg didn't fit in the correct hole with the banks. So
And that was because he didn't set it up properly
yeah,
in the beginning, but even if later down the line and started, separating business it's a great example for you to share.
and
Exactly
it's
what you're
real.
talking about.
It's not a chat GPT thing. It's a, I know him. It's a real story.
Yeah.
My printing friend, that's a true story. Pat's 60 years old. He's going to retire in a couple of years. And he didn't want to walk away with any personal debt on that company, no matter what happens. So off it goes. And a lot of people they're mistaken, or they think they don't need it because they've got their own great personal credit and the company is flush with cash. I say great. If your company's flush with cash and you're not worried about cash flow, awesome. But why not have a good business credit score? Again, it goes back to my question I use at the networking groups. Tell me the downside to it, because same thing. If you mentioned a minute ago, using credit wisely to grow or do whatever you want to do, as long as you service it properly, right? So if that same person who's got all this money in the bank and you're doing really well, but here comes a competitor they can buy, or they're going to want to buy a new building, they why not use someone else's money, as they say,
Mhm.
OPM, and use it at a better interest rate instead of taking the cash out of your business when you could use that money to, invest or do whatever you want to do. I have one of my very first, I like to call them rescues. My first rescue was a friend who started one of these, you know, glass windshield repair companies, so you get a rock in your windshield and he comes out and it's like magic. I don't know how they do that, but he learned how to do his trade on Google, and YouTube videos, and studied and got himself a mentor and left his corporate job. Well, he was downsized. And I don't know what year it was, and had a house and had two kids and everything, and worked and worked and worked. And so now he's got one location and he's doing really well. But he came on board with me because he wants to do just that. He wants to buy 3 more locations, buildings. He wants to own the buildings without having to rent them. So in a year or two, he'll be able to do just that, all on his company's EIN, without any personal guarantees. He'll have 4 locations. He wants to get those things staffed up, build them, run them for another 5 years, and sell those jokers and move to Florida. And he's not going to do it with any of his own money. So that's,
Yeah, that's the
you,
way to do it.
yeah, there's no, and people always ask me, well, who's your ideal customer? I hate to say it, but anyone that owns a business, I think the caveat is if you've got a board of directors and you're a company like that, probably not. But if you're a one person man shop, it doesn't matter. The number of employees doesn't matter. It's the small to mid cap businesses are our sweet spot. Just trying to get them to focus. That's the hard part, really cutting through the clutter. If someone could show me how to do that, that would be great.
Yeah, I hear you. I think mostly it's just getting people to understand that it's available to them. But I think there are so many people out there that are, maybe they're coaches, because that's primarily who I talk to, but they they're they're starting out, or they've been around for a while. They don't really realize that as as coaches, they are entrepreneurs, they are small businesses, and they are hiring people. I mean, they hire VAs, they hire um, people to help them with advertising. They have expenses, and
Yeah.
all of these things can be handled in a way, that could benefit them a lot more than running everything on their personal credit.
Sure. Yeah. I have a friend who, has a corporate job, but he wants to leave that job in a couple of years, and he wants to get into the, buying real estate and having tenants and get a big portfolio of rental properties, but he doesn't want to borrow using his social. So he's a client, and he's just putting his cell phone and his office supplies and little things like that. But he'll build up that business credit. And he'll be able to do just that. He'll be able to get real estate without his social security number. Sounds crazy, but it's true.
It's totally doable. So, Sean, how do people get in touch with you?
Well, you can email me. It's Sean, which is SEAN at JGALT.com. So Sean at jgalt.com. You can call me. My number is 404-431-1263. It's funny. I always tell the story. I grew up in the South, which is where I live now. My name's Sean, SEAN. You know how many school teachers called me in the third grade? Is Sean, Sean. It's like, what are people saying? I said to one teacher it was in the third grade, I said, have you ever met anyone named Scene in your life? And you haven't today. It's Sean. So it's, yeah. So those two ways. I always answer my emails. And if I don't answer a phone call, text is fine too. I will call right back. I don't want to sound like every other joker out there, but this is not a 5-day-a-week job. This is when people have time to talk, especially when dealing with small business operators. They're busy, so it doesn't matter to me if it's 6 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock at night or Saturday, as long as I'm not at a soccer game, whatever, with one of my kids.
So what's the one thing you hope that the audience takes away from our conversation today?
The one thing I say, and it's simple, is just don't go into personal debt to run your business. Just don't do it unless it's absolutely mandatory. Don't risk your home, your savings, your college funds when you don't have to. That's really it. And if you want some guidance along that way, I'm more than happy to help. Again, the consultation is a no charge type of deal, and they'll learn a lot from it. It's less of me talking about me and more talking about their business too. So that's it.
This has been amazing. You've given me so much to think about personally, and I really appreciate it.
No, I enjoyed it. I'm very grateful for the time and the opportunity just to speak to you, and hopefully this helps someone out there. And again, I'm here to help, and I'm also, just so everyone knows, I'm an honest engine. If we're speaking and I don't think it's a good fit for you, I'll tell you straight away, because I'm not going to waste your time. But even people that are in that position, I talk to them all the time. It's not like I cut them off. I have a gentleman that calls me 3 times a week. He's probably 2 years away from being able to even start his business, but he just wants to hear things and learn. So I don't mind helping him out. It's no big deal. So, but I see people come to me, hey, I don't have any money. I don't quite have a product yet, but I've got my LLC. That's not a client for me yet. So.
All right. Thanks, Sean.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another empowering episode of the U World Order Showcase podcast. We hope you've enjoyed hearing from our incredible life, health, and transformational coaches who are making a profound impact on the world. Remember, change begins with you, and you have the power to transform your life and the lives of others. If you want to take that next step and unlock your true potential, visit thecoachesalchemist.com, where you can find the 3 ways we can help you for free to spin your talent into gold with clarity, a system, and a plan. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an inspiring episode. And if you enjoyed today's show, we'd greatly appreciate it if you could leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback means the world to us and helps us reach more people with our positive message. Stay connected with us on social media for updates, behind-the-scenes content, and upcoming guest announcements. You can find us on Facebook at The U World Order or simply visit thecoachesalchemist.com.